What if I told you that 5 specific foods eaten daily could reduce your shortness of breath more effectively than many medications, by thinning mucus, reducing inflammation, and strengthening respiratory tissues from the inside out, and that thousands of people are experiencing breathing transformation simply by changing what they eat? Right now, millions of people over 50 are relying solely on medications and inhalers to manage breathlessness, never realizing that the foods they eat every day are either fueling their breathing problems or could be solving them. Meanwhile, those who discovered these 5 powerful lung-strengthening foods are breathing easier, reducing medication dependence, and rebuilding respiratory health through nutrition that works with their body's natural healing processes. This isn't about restrictive diets or exotic superfoods you can't pronounce. These are 5 readily available, affordable foods that provide specific compounds your lungs desperately need to function properly. Your respiratory tissues require particular nutrients to maintain healthy mucus consistency, control inflammation, repair damage, and resist infections. Without these nutrients, your lungs struggle and breathing becomes progressively harder no matter what medications you take. With these nutrients from the right foods, your lungs can heal, strengthen, and function the way they're meant to. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal these 5 lung-strengthening foods that reduce shortness of breath naturally. I'll explain exactly what each food does in your respiratory system and why it's so effective. I'll tell you how much to eat and when to eat it for maximum benefit. And I'll share the remarkable stories of people whose chronic breathlessness improved dramatically within weeks of adding these foods to their daily routine. Your breathing could transform starting with your next meal if you know which foods your lungs need and how to use them strategically for respiratory health. If you're experiencing shortness of breath that limits your activities and quality of life, you've probably tried multiple medications with varying degrees of success. Maybe you use inhalers that provide temporary relief but don't solve the underlying problem. Perhaps you've been prescribed steroids that have concerning side effects. You might be taking multiple respiratory medications but still struggling to breathe comfortably. You're doing what your doctor recommends, taking the medications as prescribed, yet your breathing remains frustratingly limited and every exertion leaves you gasping. Here's what most conventional medical approaches miss entirely. Your lungs are living tissues that constantly repair and regenerate themselves, but this process requires specific nutrients to happen effectively. Without adequate amounts of key vitamins, minerals, and compounds, your lungs cannot maintain healthy function regardless of what medications you take. The foods you eat either provide these essential nutrients or fail to provide them, and this nutritional factor can be the difference between lungs that heal and strengthen versus lungs that progressively decline despite medical treatment. Most doctors focus exclusively on pharmaceutical interventions for breathing problems, rarely discussing nutrition beyond vague advice to eat healthy. This leaves patients unaware that specific foods have remarkable therapeutic effects on respiratory function, effects that are well documented in research but somehow never make it into routine medical care. The result is people suffering unnecessarily with breathing problems that could improve significantly through strategic dietary changes. After 50, breathing problems often stem from several common factors. Chronic inflammation in airways that narrows passages and triggers mucus production. Thick, sticky mucus that clogs airways and is difficult to clear. Oxidative damage to lung tissues that impairs function. Weak immune defenses in the respiratory tract that allow frequent infections. Inadequate antioxidant protection during the constant stress of breathing. Each of these factors can be addressed powerfully through specific foods that provide compounds your lungs need. Thousands of people who discovered these 5 lung-strengthening foods and made them daily staples describe breathing transformations that medications alone never provided. Chronic shortness of breath that had limited their lives for years improved noticeably within weeks. Medication needs decreased as natural lung function improved. Energy increased because breathing was no longer exhausting. Quality of life transformed when breathing stopped being a constant struggle. Let me explain what these 5 foods do in your respiratory system and why they're so powerful for reducing shortness of breath. Each food provides specific compounds that address different aspects of respiratory dysfunction. Food number 1 is fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring, eaten at least 3 times weekly. Fatty fish provides omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA, which are among the most powerful anti-inflammatory compounds available from food. Chronic inflammation is the primary cause of airway narrowing, mucus overproduction, and breathing difficulty in most people over 50. Your airways are constantly responding to irritants from air pollution, allergens, and other exposures with inflammatory reactions. Without adequate anti-inflammatory nutrition, this inflammation becomes chronic and progressive. Omega-3s from fatty fish directly reduce inflammatory compounds in your respiratory tissues. Research shows that regular fatty fish consumption reduces airway inflammation measurably, decreases mucus production, improves airflow, and reduces breathlessness during activities. Studies comparing people who eat fatty fish regularly to those who don't find significantly better lung function and less respiratory symptoms in the fish-eating group. The anti-inflammatory effects are so powerful that some research suggests omega-3s are as effective as some anti-inflammatory medications without any side effects. Eat fatty fish 3 to 4 times weekly, with portions of 4 to 6 ounces. Wild-caught fish is preferable when available and affordable. If you absolutely cannot eat fish, high-quality fish oil supplements providing at least 1,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA daily can substitute, though whole food sources are always preferred because they provide additional beneficial compounds beyond just omega-3s. Food number 2 is leafy green vegetables like spinach, kale, collard greens, and Swiss chard, eaten daily in significant quantities. Leafy greens provide multiple respiratory benefits. They're rich in magnesium, which is critical for airway smooth muscle relaxation. Magnesium deficiency, extremely common in people over 50, causes airways to constrict more easily and remain tight, directly contributing to breathlessness. Adequate magnesium keeps airways relaxed and open. Leafy greens also provide vitamin C, vitamin E, beta-carotene, and numerous other antioxidants that protect lung tissues from oxidative damage. Every breath you take creates some oxidative stress as oxygen is processed. Without adequate antioxidant protection, this cumulative damage impairs lung function progressively. The antioxidants from leafy greens neutralize free radicals before they damage respiratory tissues. Additionally, leafy greens provide nitrates that your body converts to nitric oxide, a compound that dilates airways and improves oxygen delivery. Research shows that regular consumption of leafy greens improves lung function measurements, reduces respiratory symptoms, and protects against lung function decline with aging. Eat at least 2 cups of leafy greens daily, more if possible. Raw in salads, cooked in stir-fries, blended in smoothies, any preparation works as long as you're consuming them daily. The darker the greens, generally the more nutrients they provide, so prioritize deep green varieties. Food number 3 is garlic and onions, eaten daily in generous amounts. These pungent vegetables provide sulfur compounds that have remarkable effects on respiratory health. Garlic contains allicin and other organosulfur compounds that thin mucus dramatically, making it much easier to clear from airways. If you struggle with thick, sticky mucus that's difficult to cough up, regular garlic consumption can change the consistency within days, making clearance much easier. Garlic and onions also have powerful antimicrobial properties that help prevent respiratory infections. They boost immune function in the respiratory tract. They reduce inflammation. They provide antioxidants. Research shows that people who consume garlic and onions regularly have significantly lower rates of respiratory infections and better overall lung function than those who consume them rarely. Eat at least 1 clove of fresh garlic daily and onions regularly, preferably daily. Raw garlic provides maximum benefit, though cooked still offers substantial effects. If raw garlic is too intense, crush it and let it sit for 10 minutes before cooking to allow beneficial compounds to form. Onions of all colors provide benefits, with red onions generally offering the most antioxidants. Food number 4 is berries, particularly blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries, eaten daily. Berries are among the most antioxidant-rich foods available, providing compounds called anthocyanins that have specific benefits for lung tissue. These antioxidants protect the delicate membranes in your airways and air sacs from damage, support healthy mucus production, reduce inflammation, and improve the elasticity of lung tissues. Research on berry consumption and lung function shows impressive results. Studies find that regular berry eaters have better lung function, slower age-related decline, reduced inflammation markers, and fewer respiratory symptoms compared to non-consumers. The effects are dose-dependent, meaning more berries provide more benefits up to a point. Eat at least 1 cup of mixed berries daily. Fresh is ideal when in season, but frozen berries retain most of their beneficial compounds and are more affordable year-round. Add to breakfast, eat as snacks, blend in smoothies, or have as dessert. The variety of colors is beneficial as different berries provide slightly different antioxidant profiles. Food number 5 is ginger, consumed daily as fresh root, tea, or added to foods. Ginger provides gingerols and other compounds that have multiple respiratory benefits. Ginger is a powerful natural bronchodilator, meaning it helps relax and open airways. It reduces inflammation in respiratory tissues. It helps thin mucus and promote clearance. It has antimicrobial properties that protect against infections. It soothes irritated airways. Research on ginger for respiratory health shows it improves airflow, reduces breathlessness, decreases cough, and enhances overall respiratory comfort. Some studies suggest ginger's bronchodilatory effects rival pharmaceutical bronchodilators without any side effects. Long-term ginger consumption appears to have protective effects against age-related lung function decline. Consume ginger daily in whatever form you prefer. Fresh ginger root grated into tea, smoothies, or stir-fries. Ginger tea made by steeping sliced fresh ginger in hot water for 10 minutes. Powdered ginger added to foods, though fresh provides more active compounds. A piece of fresh ginger about 1 to 2 inches, or 1 to 2 cups of ginger tea, or half to 1 teaspoon of powdered ginger daily provides therapeutic amounts. The consequences of not including these 5 foods regularly are continued breathing limitations despite medications. Your lungs remain inflamed, mucus stays thick and obstructive, tissues lack antioxidant protection, and immune defenses stay weak. Medications might manage symptoms partially, but without nutritional support, your lungs cannot heal and strengthen fundamentally. These 5 foods provide that essential nutritional foundation for respiratory healing. Now let me give you a practical daily eating plan that incorporates all 5 lung-strengthening foods for maximum breathing benefit. The key is consistency, eating these foods every single day so your lungs constantly receive the nutrients they need. Breakfast options that include multiple foods. Berry smoothie with spinach, 1 cup mixed berries, 2 cups spinach, ginger, and liquid of choice. This covers berries, greens, and ginger in one meal. Alternatively, scrambled eggs with sautéed spinach and onions, side of berries. Or oatmeal topped with berries and walnuts, with ginger tea. Lunch options focusing on greens and alliums. Large salad with mixed leafy greens, colorful vegetables, grilled salmon, garlic vinaigrette. This covers fish, greens, and garlic. Alternatively, vegetable stir-fry with lots of greens, onions, garlic, over brown rice. Or hearty soup with greens, onions, garlic, and white beans. Dinner options completing the daily requirements. Baked salmon with roasted vegetables including onions and garlic, side of sautéed kale. Or mackerel with mixed green salad and garlic dressing. Or sardines on whole grain toast with arugula and sliced onions. Snacks and beverages throughout the day. Fresh berries, ginger tea, raw vegetables with garlic hummus. These fill nutritional gaps and ensure you're meeting targets. The goal is hitting these targets daily, 3 to 4 servings of fatty fish weekly, at least 2 cups leafy greens daily, garlic and onions daily, 1 cup berries daily, ginger daily in some form. Once you establish patterns and routines around these foods, meeting targets becomes automatic rather than requiring constant planning. Let me tell you about Robert, a 69-year-old man who had been experiencing severe shortness of breath for 3 years. He could barely walk from his car to a store entrance without stopping to catch his breath. He was using multiple inhalers and taking oral medications, but his breathing remained severely limited. His quality of life was terrible because breathing difficulty restricted everything he wanted to do. Robert's pulmonologist focused exclusively on medications, adjusting doses, and trying different combinations, but nothing provided significant relief. Then Robert attended a seminar on integrative approaches to respiratory health where a nutritionist discussed these 5 lung-strengthening foods. Robert realized he was eating almost none of them regularly. His diet was heavy on processed foods, bread, dairy, and meat, with minimal fish, vegetables, berries, garlic, or ginger. Robert decided to completely overhaul his eating, making these 5 foods the foundation of every day's meals. He started eating salmon, mackerel, or sardines at least 4 times weekly. He added huge salads with mixed greens to lunch and dinner daily. He put berries in his breakfast every morning. He started cooking with generous amounts of garlic and onions. He drank ginger tea throughout the day. Within 2 weeks, Robert noticed his mucus was thinner and easier to clear. Within a month, he could walk farther without getting as breathless. After 2 months, his breathing had improved so dramatically that his pulmonologist reduced one of his medications. After 4 months, Robert's lung function tests showed measurable improvement, something his doctor hadn't expected to see. Robert's breathing continues to improve, and he's more active now than he's been in years. Robert says these 5 foods have done more for his breathing than any medication ever did. He wishes he'd known about this nutritional approach years earlier, before his breathing declined so severely. He now views food as medicine and makes sure he never misses a day of eating his lung-strengthening foods. The key to success is making these 5 foods non-negotiable daily staples rather than occasional additions. Meal planning helps ensure you always have these foods available. Batch cooking fatty fish to have ready for quick meals. Washing and prepping greens when you bring them home so they're ready to use. Keeping frozen berries on hand when fresh aren't available. Having fresh ginger root always in your kitchen. Some people find it helpful to track intake for the first few weeks until patterns become habitual. Simple daily checklist: fatty fish today, 2 cups greens, berries, garlic and onions, ginger. Once you've checked all boxes most days for a few weeks, the habits solidify and tracking becomes unnecessary. Integrative medicine physicians and nutritionists who specialize in respiratory health consistently recommend these 5 foods as foundational interventions. Research on diet and lung function shows strong correlations between consumption of these foods and better respiratory outcomes. Studies on omega-3s document anti-inflammatory effects in airways. Research on antioxidant-rich foods shows protective effects against lung function decline. Clinical trials on specific foods like berries and garlic demonstrate measurable improvements in respiratory symptoms and function. The insider knowledge that integrative practitioners share is that nutritional interventions for breathing problems often work as well as medications without any side effects, yet conventional medicine almost completely ignores nutrition. Many patients could reduce medication dependence significantly if they optimized their diet with these lung-strengthening foods, but they're never given this option because their doctors don't discuss nutrition beyond vague generalities. Here's something that will change how you think about breathing problems and diet. Research tracking lung function over decades found that people with high intakes of these 5 foods maintained lung function into old age that most people lose by their 60s. The protective effect of diet was as strong as the damaging effect of smoking, just in the opposite direction. Your food choices are literally determining whether your lungs age well or deteriorate. The revelation is that you might not need more medications. You might need better nutrition that allows your lungs to heal and function properly. These 5 foods provide that nutritional foundation. When you start eating these 5 foods daily and experience breathing improvement, the psychological benefits are profound. You feel empowered because you're healing through food choices you control. You feel hopeful because breathing is improving naturally. You feel grateful for easier breathing that transforms daily life. Quality of life improves dramatically when breathing stops limiting everything you want to do. We've covered the 5 foods that strengthen lungs and reduce shortness of breath naturally. Fatty fish for anti-inflammatory omega-3s. Leafy greens for magnesium and antioxidants. Garlic and onions for mucus thinning and antimicrobial effects. Berries for lung tissue protection. Ginger for bronchodilation and inflammation reduction. Eat all 5 daily for comprehensive respiratory support. The question is whether you're going to start eating these foods tomorrow or continue struggling with breathing. That proper nutrition could improve dramatically. Get these 5 foods today. Start eating them tomorrow. Your breathing transformation begins with your next meal.